January 1st, 2026. Welcome back to the Two Witnesses Live. I'm your host, Watchful, and it's time once again for your daily Torment report. But previously on Two Witnesses Live. Last night, I wanted to reiterate, we were reading in Matthew 24, which there's a parallel records to Matthew 24. So this is the section where Jesus's disciples asked him, how will we know when you will return? Where to go? Jesus went out and departed from the temple. His disciples came up to show him the buildings of the temple, and Jesus said to them, "Do you not see all these things? Assuredly, I say to you, not one stone shall be left here upon another that shall not be thrown down." Now, as he sat on the Mount of Olives, the disciples came to him privately, saying, "Tell us, when will these things be, and what will be the sign of your coming?" So 2 questions there. When's the temple going to be destroyed, and what will be the sign of your coming? 3 questions. And of the end of the age. So we went through part of his answer, which these correlate. I'm speculating that these correlate with the seals that were opened, right? We've got this timeline here where we've had seals that were opened, and there's a correlation here. This one very likely being seal number 4, the abomination of desolation. We looked at the parallel record in Luke 21 that talks about when you see Jerusalem surrounded, know that its desolation is near. So that brings us to, well, if this is seal number 4, then surely seal number 5 follows. Because we also identified where seal number 6 is. Right here, immediately after the tribulation of those days, the sun will be darkened, the moon will not give its light, the stars will fall from heaven, the powers of the heavens shall be shaken, the sign of the Son of Man will appear, and then all the tribes of the earth will mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming. So between seal number 4 and seal number 5, seal number 4 and seal number 6, you have seal number 5. So this is how we enter in to our January 1st, 2026. So, for then there will be great tribulation, such has not been since the beginning of the world, until this time, no, nor ever shall be. And unless those days were shortened, no flesh would be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days will be shortened. Then if anyone says to you, "Look, here is the Christ," or "There," do not believe it. For false Christs and false prophets will rise and show great signs and wonders to deceive, if possible, even the elect. See, I have told you beforehand. Therefore, if they say to you, "Look, he is in the desert," do not go out. Or, "Look, he is in the inner rooms," do not believe it. So this is what we have to look forward to coming into 2025, because that puts us here on the timeline. Where is it? Oops. That way. That puts us right in here. This is 2026. So we are coming out of seal number 4, February 17th, 2026. And then there is a 176-day period until the opening of seal number 6. That is, of course, if the seals opening continue to follow the pattern of the first 4, which there is a structure here, which, I don't share this one very much. Let's go look at, I'm not the only one to identify this structure. So this is from a website called Jesus 2027. So there's a Korean gentleman who put together these charts, and this is worth your time if you go spend some time on this website. It's called Jesus 2027. He took the time to have this translated into multiple languages. It does kind of appear to be a site selling something. It's not, I assure you. It just happens when you're building sites, websites that cover multiple languages. Sometimes they come across a little spammy. But yeah, no, this is, he's gone through, and what you're looking at here is this is a chart marking the eclipses. He doesn't identify the opening of the seals. What he's identified is the pattern of the eclipses. So you can see here, he's got this eclipse here, and he shows where it went over the earth. So that went over Africa. This one went over South America. This one with the moon here. This one with the moon at the bottom. This one going across the Pacific Ocean, I think. This one going across America. And then you get this point, which is January 10th, 2024, where they start to reverse, which is very interesting when you get signs in the heavens beginning to reverse exactly the way they'd already gone previously. So when you get this eclipse, it goes the opposite side of the United States. This one, the opposite side of this ocean. This one reversed. This one actually mirrors the moon. This one mirrors the moon. This one mirrors it, and then this one mirrors it. He calls it a decalcomania. A decalcomania is a type of artwork which makes mirror images. It's where you, in chalk or some kind of material, make an image and then smash the two pieces of paper together, and then you have your piece of artwork. It's the same thing as saying mirror image. So he calls this a decalcomania. Another way of saying it is a mirror image, as these are a mirror image in the same way that your left and right hand are a mirror image. So, and then he just goes through, and this whole website is just a ton of detail on symmetry. He's got a really cool one down here, or okay, not down there. Hexagon shape, maybe? Yeah, here. So he goes through and he shows the geometric shapes of these things. So well worth your time if you're into this kind of thing. Anyway, the reason I show you that is to emphasize the high likelihood that this may be the season that we're going into. And I say this with no joy at all. The only joy I say this is with the fact that our redemption is near. For the things that are coming in 2026, nobody wants to go through anything called the Great Tribulation. But we, as somebody who sees these things, we have a responsibility to bring them up and point them out. So I'm showing you this based on evidence. There's no voice in my head. There's no special knowledge. There's no dreams or visions that are leading towards this. I could be 100% wrong. I make no claim of certainty. This is purely based on the pattern of what was written in the scripture and what we've been able to see and identify with the signs in the heavens, which eclipses marked the opening of these seals. The events match the descriptions in the scripture. And so it stands to reason that the mirror image, that this would be seal number 5, which I've been looking for an answer for what seal number 5 is going to be, because it's relatively unclear, to say the least. When you actually look at seal number 5, here, when he opened the 5th seal, I saw under the altar the souls of those who had been slain. Right there, I guess you start to get an indication that seal number 5 might not be great. Those who had been slain for the word of God and for the testimony which they held, and they cried with a loud voice, saying, How long, O Lord, holy and true, until you judge and avenge our blood on those who dwell on the earth? Then a white robe was given to each of them, and it was said to them that they should rest a little while longer, until both the number of their fellow servants and their brethren who would be killed as they were was completed. So, yeah, that's where we left off. Happy 2026. Your redemption is near. All right. So with that, let's jump into Donald Trump, which he didn't post a whole lot. We'll start with how he started the new year here with a little video.
Really exciting to see, so I think we're going to do well. You saw 4.3, they were predicting 1.9, 4.3. We've taken in hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs. We gave the military, the entire military, $1,776. $1,776, that's not bad. They were extremely happy. But we're doing great as a country. We're back, we're strong. I didn't think it could happen this fast. It's happening a lot faster than anybody would have thought possible. We have a lot of leaders here, great leaders like Tom Emmer. I watched him on television. He was talking about Somalia today. Where's Tom? He was talking about the Somalian population, and not very nicely. He was not nice.
Ooh, Melania's dress? Yeah, it was gorgeous.
He's great. What a great leader he is. We need you in Minnesota. We need you in Minnesota. It's actually Washington. Big, powerful congressman. But you did a great job today, Tom. Thank you very much. We all appreciate it because we want to take back our country. Can you imagine? They stole $18 billion. That's just what we're learning about. That's peanuts. In California is worse. Illinois is worse. And sadly, New York is worse. A lot of other places. So we're going to get to the bottom of all of it. It was a giant scam. Other than that, we're going to have a great new year. Actually, I view that as a reason for a good year because we're going to get to the bottom, but we're going to get that money back. It's all coming back. So I want to just do something very special. This is very different. There's a young lady named Vanessa, who's one of the greatest artists anywhere in the world. To me, she's one of the greatest. In fact, she did something last night that was incredible. She can paint slowly a beautiful portrait for the White House, or she can paint the most incredible painting in literally 10 minutes. And she's a speed painter, and she's a great painter. But I think she's one of the great living artists. And I said, do you think you'd be able to stay and interrupt the music for a couple of minutes and show them something special, or draw something really special? I don't know what it is, but draw something really special. And if it's really good, what I thought I'd do is come back up and I'll auction it off. And I'll start with a certain number. But we have money in this room. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So we'll maybe auction it off afterwards. But I think you're not going to really believe what.
Anyway, you get the point. So this is how he entered the new year. So partying. So I guess it stands to reason why he didn't post a whole lot today. So here we'll just hit refresh just in case he's posted some more. But, it got me thinking about what's going on with Somalia. If things don't come to a head on that, because what they're finding is that fraud is everywhere. So we may be seeing the fruits of that fraud and where the money has gone and what it is that they're truly intending, which could be leading towards what we've known as the Great Tribulation. Now, I will say one word of caution is I don't think anybody correctly assumed or guessed what any of the seals would turn out to be. Like, nobody guessed COVID. Nobody guessed a pandemic for seal number 1. Nobody guessed a certain presidential administration and a vaccine for seal number 2. And certainly nobody guessed a union between the United States and the United Kingdom for seal number 3. Seal number 4, I think, is what everybody was thinking of would be the start of the Great Tribulation. At least I did. I thought, and that's one of the reasons why I kind of got caught off guard when reading that and realizing, wait a minute, the Great Tribulation comes after the events of seal number 4 and before the events of seal number 6. Seal number 6 is really the anchor here because when the sun is darkened, the moon doesn't give its light, the stars fall from heaven. It's describing seal number 6. So that's an indicator that the Great Tribulation occurs right before seal number 6. And I don't think it's a coincidence here that we have 170, what is that, 6 days? 176 days between seals, which parallels this 176 days. So between the Biden administration and the yoking together. So it was about 6 months. In this case, it was 6 months and 4 days. This one is about 6 months and 4 days. This was 178 days. This is 170. I think that says 176 days. So not an identical mirror image, but with the way orbits and everything work, it probably is, knowing our God. Okay, moving on. So what did he post? We'll just start at the top here. His pinned post. Paul Perez and the Border Patrol have done a fantastic job, and so proud that more than half are of Hispanic heritage, which Los Angeles's incompetent mayor, Karen Bass, who hasn't even gotten the permits for people rebuilding their homes after the record-setting fire that took place, and other third-rate politicians are complaining about, Our enlisted numbers are at records, and we'll keep it that way. There is no group I am more proud of than Border Patrol and ICE, and nobody understands the border better than our fantastic Hispanic population, which continues to make America great again. We don't need to watch that video. I think we've seen it twice already. And then here he's promoting a book. So this was 3 hours ago. Alex Sawyer has written a powerful book, Lawless Lawfare, tipping the scales of justice to get Trump and destroy MAGA. The unprecedented weaponization of justice by the Democrats against their political opponent, me, can never be forgotten or allowed to happen again. Read this book and remember what the radical left Democrats are capable of. This seems to be a theme. And what we overcame through sheer grit, wisdom, and courage. Get your copy today. His nice mugshot there. Lawless Lawfare. Tipping the scales of justice to get Trump and destroy MAGA. And then that's it. That's pretty much what he's posted so far today. So not a whole lot to report on. As promised, I did find that video where Rabbi Yisroel Goldstein was talking about the oppression of Israel and what they had intended. But before we watch this, I'm going to respond to some of the comments here. So Fury says they took 2 Americans hostage in Venezuela, plus 3 who have dual citizenship. Why they and others who have been detained are crossing the border there is beyond reasoning. They know they will be detained. Lion Dog says, is there a way that we can meet? Yeah, you can join our Discord and talk to me that way, or send me an email at twowitnesseslive@gmail. Happy to talk with you. Let's see. Fury says he did a video projected on the Washington Monument for New Year's. I didn't see that. I was looking for anything for what he did. It wasn't coming up for me, though. You talked about, let's see, silver dress. All right, moving on. Let us listen to Rabbi Yisrael Goldstein here.
To take away these 2 beautiful lives. Our hearts go out to them. Israel has been through enough. It has been through the last 2 years, the war in Gaza, which many people don't realize October 7 was planned to be the next Holocaust. The organized plan that Yahya Sinwar, may his name obliterated from history, planned together with Hezbollah and Iran and the Houthis and with Hamas. The plan was to do a united annihilation of the Jewish people in Israel. That was the plan of October 7th. The plan fell apart. Hezbollah didn't join in at the October 7th. Yahya jumped ahead, and he did it single-handedly. Unfortunately, so tragically, he murdered and killed 1,200 innocent, beautiful civilians, babies, grandparents, brothers, sisters, uncles, aunts, friends, Jewish, not Jewish, indiscriminately killed, murdered, raped, tortured, burnt, beheaded, the worst types of barbaric and hideous type of murders that could have been committed. Their plans were to march all the way into Tel Aviv and Jerusalem from the north and the south, and they were going to overwhelm Israel and have the annihilation of the Jewish people. That was their plan. But just like we read and we read every year on Passover around the Seder table, that in every generation they rise up against us to strike us down. But God protects us. You see that menorah that's behind my shoulder, looking at the beach?
Can't really
That's
see it in the
a
video.
menorah, a candelabra
It's right here.
of 8 hands, and one in the middle. That has been lit every single year for the last 2,000 years. The story of Hanukkah began when Israel was occupied by the Jewish people. We lived there. That was our home for thousands of years. The Greek, Syrian army came trying not to take Israel away geographically, but spiritually. It was a spiritual war. It was our first war for religious freedom. And they tried as hard as they can to try to assimilate the Jewish people, to abandon the faith in God and the Torah. It was predominantly a spiritual war. But in order to eradicate that spiritual war, we had to drive the Greeks and Syrians out of Israel. A small group of fighters led by Judah Maccabee was able to mobilize a small army and miraculously was able to defeat the huge Greek army that they ran away. When they came to rededicate the temple, they wanted to once again do what their mandate is, to bring a light into the world, to be a light unto the nations. And they wanted to rekindle the menorah, when they found that not only was the temple ransacked and desecrated, but all the oils where the seals were broken. They weren't spilt out. They were just broken because they knew that the only oil is pure oil that has a seal in it that can be used. There was only one jug left with a seal, and that jug was supposed to last one day. Miraculously, it lasted 8 days. And that is that 8-pronged menorah you're looking on right now. That's on Bondi Beach in Sydney, Australia.
All right, so there you go. So the reason I wanted to show that to you is because you can see, and this is just a summary. You can actually go verify the details if you care to verify it. If you don't believe what he is saying, I've heard this so many different places, but he's easy for me because I listen to him anytime he posts a video for me to find the references to who is involved and what the plan is. So the plan was to completely annihilate Israel, to do another Holocaust. And it failed. So to me, that sounds a lot like Revelation 12, where the dragon pursued the woman, and then the earth swallowed up. So the woman persecuted here. Now when the dragon saw that he had been cast to the earth, he persecuted the woman who gave birth to the male child. But the woman was given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness to her place where she is nourished for a time and times and half a time from the presence of the serpent. So the serpent spewed water out of his mouth like a flood. I believe that's the Al-Aqsa flood. After the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away by the flood. But the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened its mouth and swallowed up the flood which the dragon had spewed out of his mouth. What he's taught, Yisrael Goldstein is referring to there, I believe, is the Al-Aqsa flood was intended to carry the woman away, but the earth opened its mouth and swallowed up the flood to where it minimized it. And the dragon was enraged with the woman, and he went to make war with the rest of her offspring, who keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. This is where I think seal number 5 is. So any indication of what that might be, this could be that, another type of something, another persecution of sorts, to where the dragon is turning his attention to the children of the woman, which I don't think it's any secret that Christianity is the kind of the child religion of Judaism. So considering Yeshua, Jesus, was Jewish. All right, let us move on to Elon Musk. Anything? Yep. All right. So he did post a little bit more. We're going to skip the repetitive stuff and just cover the overview here. So we start 22 hours ago. He posted about taxes. Elon said, "I paid so much in taxes one year that it broke the IRS computer. Actually, too many digits. They had to update the software to get it processed." This was in response to the rabbit hole where they said the rich actually already pay more than their fair share of taxes. This was in 2021. I actually remember this. Elon didn't have to pay taxes. He actually did this willingly because people were bitching and complaining that he doesn't pay taxes because of the way he keeps his money in his stocks. So he cashed out like $12 billion or something like that in taxes and paid them to the government. and it broke their computers. So next time you're tempted to think he doesn't pay his fair share, just know that he actually has. So this is just some New Year's footage. From William Wolfe, white guilt has been one of the most destructive forces of the 21st century to date. If Western civilization falls in our lifetime, it will be because we allowed this mind virus to destroy us. Elon says it ends now. More videos about that. Back in January, so from Eric Jang, back in January, nobody had heard. Oh, this is just a Grok post. Elon, so Tesla owners Silicon Valley posted, I will fight to my last drop of blood to ensure that America remains the land of freedom and opportunity. Elon Musk. Happy New Year. 2026 will be a banger. I hope that's not prophetic of things to come. We will see. Mark your calendars for February 17th, 2026. There's an eclipse on that day, and things typically happen on the day of an eclipse. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens on that day. It's going to be indicative of the rest of 2026. As a response to socialism, Miami will replace New York City as the finance capital, and Austin will replace San Francisco as the tech capital. You know, he's probably not that far off. Grok, Elon Omar. Let's see. So from Mila Joy, 19 hours ago, Elon Omar wasn't some poor oppressed refugee that America saved. Her family was part of the tyrannical Somali government that was ejected from Somalia. Her family were the oppressors. Yeah, they need to do something about her. Sorry, allergies again. Something about when I start talking, it's like I start breathing in so much air that it's just like my nose gets stuffy. Sorry about that. Let's see, Grok Web. Let's see, fraud used to make political donations. Daycares in Minnesota donated a combined $35 million to political campaigns in the last 2 years. They didn't even try to hide the money trail. Yeah. See, I think this is coming to a head now, and when you have that many people in the country, legally and illegally, and they're committing fraud, it would not surprise me if something doesn't happen as a result of exposing that. From Seth Dillon, it would be hard to understand if the goal were the construction of coherent systems, but the goal is the destruction of the current one. Consistency doesn't matter, just results. Responding to Frank Turek, what's behind the surprising alliance between Islam, the LGBTQ plus movement, and the radical left? It would be hard to understand if the goal was construction of a coherent, but it's purely about destruction. Yeah. This is good.
If you're going to create a company, the first thing you should try to do is create a working prototype. Everything looks great on PowerPoint. You can make anything work on PowerPoint. But if you have an actual demonstration article, even if it's in primitive form, that's much, much more effective for convincing people. Because after we made the Tesla Roadster, people said, oh, sure, we always knew you could make a car like that. It's an expensive car, and it's low volume, and it's small and all that, but you couldn't make a real car. Like, okay, fine, I got to make that too. If you're going to create a company, the first thing you should try to do is create a working prototype.
Yeah, and that's a key in startups and engineering, is always get something working that you can test. Do not build something perfect. A lot of people make the mistake of spending years and years and years trying to perfect something because they think it will make money, and then when they're ready, nobody wants it. So you're better off to make something and test it. The true test of if something has value and solves a problem is if people put up with broken prototypes at the chance of it being perfected to really solve a problem. So that's really common in engineering. All right. Starlink. What do we got here?
From the time Trump's been in office, deaths by overdose have dropped off a cliff. Look at that. Look at 2024. and
wow.
leading into 2025.
Just
Look
going
at
down.
these are all deaths from overdoses. I mean, that's kind of crazy. Like, look at that. From all drugs, which is the top one, look at that drop. I mean, that's crazy. So you see the peak in was in 2022, or it looks like actually 2020, between
It looks like
2023
mid.
and 2024. That's the peak where people are dying. And then from the time Trump's in office, it's taking a fucking sharp downturn. And why is that? Well, part of it is because they're blowing up these fucking boats that are bringing in all the drugs. And not just drugs, but drugs that are tainted with fentanyl.
Yeah.
From the time Trump's been in office.
That's amazing. And that's really what he's doing to help the homeless at the moment, because these cities won't let him in to help them any other way. You know, if Trump were to send money, not as though they're not sending money from the previous administration still. But if Trump were to do anything else to like try and come in, obviously they would fight him. So he's doing the best he can by just not allowing any drugs to come into the country, and they're attacking it at all fronts. And it's cool to see the statistics show the massive, stark drop off. That's amazing. I love it. Let's see. Good question. So from Brett Pike, slavery and monarchy were the norm throughout all of human history until the European put an end to it and gave the world freedom and republics. Yet schools teach children that the founding fathers were the villains of history. Is that what they're teaching now? Lame.
Americans over 45 years old view the founding fathers as heroes, but Americans under 45 view them as heroes and villains. And the reason for that is public schools have been pushing an anti-American agenda, as they want to sever the connection between the American nation and the founding fathers. And to do this, they teach everything through the Marxist lens of oppressed versus oppressors. So for example, when they study American history, they make everything about slavery. And although
no idea this was
literally
happening.
everyone
Well, I knew about the
believes
slavery part.
slavery was bad, they leave out historical context. Like that Thomas Jefferson actually tried to have slavery abolished in the initial draft of the Declaration of Independence. And that 11 of 13 colonies were willing to sign on to
Really?
that, but they needed 13 of 13. And as president, Thomas Jefferson signed the bill that ended the North Atlantic slave trade. A monumental achievement, not only in American, but all of human history. Because from Greece to Rome to Egypt, to the Ottoman Empire, slavery was the norm throughout all of human history. And England and the United States of America ended that norm, which was a monumental achievement, not just for America, not just for the West, but for the entire world. And all of world history. And the founding fathers had achievement after achievement that people never even dreamed were possible. In fact, in 1776...
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize I was muted there. So what I was saying is there are different forms of slavery, and the slavery that he's referring to, I believe, is government-sanctioned slavery, where you could own somebody as property. But that's not the same as though somebody is being held against their will as a slave. That's not something that you can I mean, you obviously that's illegal and abolished by law, but it doesn't mean that it has stopped, because we know that there is still human trafficking and sex slavery that is a huge problem throughout the entire world today. But not all slavery is actually even bad. People don't think of like an employer relationship as though it's slavery, but in a lot of ways, it's very likely based on the Old Testament type of doulos slavery, where somebody would commit themselves to a master. The master would bore their ear through with a hole and put an earring in it, indicating that they were a slave. But it wasn't like a bondage slave in the way that you had no rights or freedoms. It meant that you were committed to a master. The master was responsible for taking care of you and all of your needs, and even providing, even if you have a wife and a kid. So there's different types of slavery. The one that he's referring to, I believe, is specifically referring to government-sanctioned slavery, to where it was allowed to have people as property.
These were the only republics in the world, mostly tiny little places with 5,000 people. And at the time, nearly every country in the world was ruled by a divine monarchy, meaning they claimed their right to rule you came from God. But the founding fathers turned this around and said, our rights are endowed by God. And that's why Jefferson wrote, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal under God. But at the time, only one country in the world had a Bill of Rights, and formally written constitutions pretty much weren't a thing. People didn't have freedom of speech. People who criticized their government risked imprisonment, no matter what country they were in, anywhere in the world. They weren't allowed to be armed, and they weren't guaranteed fair trials or a right to privacy. They couldn't freely practice religion. This guy was the head of the Church of England and the king, and you worshipped him or else. Now the majority of countries in the world are republics. The majority of countries in the world have
And I think that's the beast from the sea.
The majority of countries in the world have bills of rights. And all of this representative government and these rights that people take for granted is thanks to these guys. They literally changed the freaking world for everyone, because the world saw what America did in 1776, and the people of the world, all over the world, demanded the same for themselves. But Americans under 30 are ready to rewrite the Constitution. And they know the founders were heroes, but they also think they're villains. And the younger they get, the less they seem to value the Constitution. And groups of people that are told by the Marxists that they're oppressed don't really value the Constitution, which is pretty damn ironic when you think about it. And that's the purpose of the agenda. They know if they could turn people against these guys, they could turn them against the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, and the Bill of Rights. And that's why I teach so many courses on American.
Interesting. Slavery and monarchy were the norm throughout all of human history until the European put an end to it and gave the world freedom and republics. Yeah, I think that's the first beast from the sea. Yet schools teach children that the founding fathers were the villains of history. This is shocking. U.S. collects $2.4 trillion in income tax, but spends $1.5 trillion on fraud. Wow. So the majority of your taxes goes towards fraud. All right, what do we got here?
Well, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. What an honor. Well, this is a very special occasion, and it is indeed my honor to welcome to the White House a great friend and a man of leadership, vision, courage, and strength, His Royal Highness Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
So this was posted by Jack 8 hours ago, but I think that this was a couple of weeks ago when MBS visited the White House. He's an interesting one to watch because I believe he's investing in a lot of AI infrastructure. Yeah, definitely keeping my eye on him. But anyway, so they said breaking Elon Musk is reportedly going all in, funding Republicans to help President Trump take back control in November midterms. And Elon responded, America is toast if the radical left wins. They will open the floodgates to illegal immigration and fraud. Won't be Americans anymore. Elon posted that 3 hours ago, and I have an article here I've been meaning to bring up for a while now. Musk diving into 2026 midterms. So Elon Musk has begun funding GOP House and Senate campaigns for the 2026 midterms. Excuse me. An indication his relationship with President Trump has thawed since their messy breakup earlier this year. Why it matters. Musk, who threatened to launch a third party and support challengers to Republican incumbents during his dispute with Trump, is now formally back in the GOP camp. I'll put this link to this in the description after the show if you want to continue reading it. But there you go. Elon Musk is back to supporting Republicans again just because won't be Americans anymore. All right, moving on. 4 hours ago, Katie Miller posted, why is California refusing to cancel 17,000 immigrant truck driver licenses? California would rather protect illegal aliens than their own citizens. Whoops. Yikes. My friend's wife was killed by an illegal immigrant driving a truck. Well, that's sad. Let's see. From Zero Hedge, Obama's Trojan horse, how his refugee machine engineered the billion-dollar looting of U.S. Treasury. Interesting. Arthur McWaters. Let me get this straight. In 1913, 0 American families paid tax. In 2025, every family paid income tax. About 2/3 of it's just covered fraud. We have become a tax farm for politicians to enrich themselves and anyone who they can import to vote for them. Interesting. All right. Let's see. Whew, my allergies are killing me, guys. Neuralink will start high volume production of brain computer interface device. Oh, we read this yesterday. I founded ARK Invest in 2014 to research and invest in the biggest technology revolution in history. The new creation that we now know Elon Musk is leading, Neuralink, is combining the brilliant minds and technology to transform that once science fiction into reality. All right, and this is breaking. San Francisco quietly rolled out $5 million per person reparations for black residents while in a $1 billion deficit. Good Lord. California didn't even have slaves. Why is it right for someone who escaped tyranny in other countries and happens to live in San Francisco to pay reparations for something they had nothing to do with? This is deeply morally wrong.
$5 million payments to eligible black residents. However, paying for it may take some creative accounting. As the New York Post reports, the city's admitting it can't sign the checks as it's facing a $1 billion deficit.
Some more news on the money front. Home buyers can usher in 2026 with
$5 million payments to eligible.
Yikes. Promises you can't keep. Sounds like a Democratic thing to do. All right. Just when you thought the Somali scandal couldn't get any worse, yet we're seeing just the tip of the iceberg. These things need to become the responsibility of states for nonprofits too. Much fraud and too little accountability with federal funding. So this is, oh my God, wait till you hear this. Somali ambassador to the UN, Abukar Dahir Osman, was a healthcare administrator in Ohio. There is another healthcare company in the same suite as his with a different name and multiple others at the same address, all with Somali names. Interesting. Breaking wide open. If tolerance means the end of Western civilization, then we cannot be tolerant. That's from Elon. New Year's resolution for everyone in the West. Stop being tolerant. All right, what is this?
I think AI actually will be very helpful with medical stuff, because AI can like look at all the studies and look at all the data, cross-check everything, and give you good recommendations. I mean, even as it is, like right now.
Oops.
I think AI actually will be very helpful with medical stuff, because AI can like look at all the studies and look at all the data, cross-check everything, and give you good recommendations. I mean, even as it is, like right now, you can upload like your X-rays and your MRI images to Grok, and it'll give you a medical diagnosis. And that diagnosis, from what I've seen, is at least as good as what, if not, I think. So I've certainly seen cases where it's actually better than what doctors tell you.
Phenomenal for blood work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can literally take a photograph of your blood work, like the page, upload from your phone, upload that to Grok, and it will tell you it'll understand what all the data results are, and tell you if there's something wrong.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and I haven't seen it be wrong yet. I think AI.
So, and he responded to this saying, "Try it. Last year, Grok saved the life of a man in Norway by figuring out a fatal problem that all his doctors missed." There you go. And that is his post. Is that the pinned post for the week? That is the pinned post for today. There we go. All right, we are done. I don't have any updates on 3i Atlas from my typical sources, and I haven't validated what I've heard from other sources. It seems as though there's been a shift in the light, which again is just another unusual occurrence if something is a meteor. All signs seem to continue to point towards 3i Atlas being some kind of armada. Possibly. I don't know if it's pointing to legitimately an armada. It's just all signs are screaming that it's not a meteor. It's not inanimate in the way that we're used to objects from interstellar in the way that we've experienced. So there you go. That's what we got for our daily Torment report and our updates on what's going on around the world. What an interesting way to start 2026. May have an idea on what seal number 5 is. What happened to Planet X? I don't know. Ray's astro photography is he put out a video yesterday about like 18 planets that are known about. So I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. I don't have a lot of information about Planet X. If you've got some video or information to share, by all means, please email it to us. Anyway, I'm going to leave you guys there with that. Thank you so much for joining me. If you like this kind of content, make sure you like the video and subscribe and share the video with your friends. Appreciate you guys showing up. We'll see you again tomorrow at 4:30 Pacific Standard Time, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. God bless you guys, and shalom, shalom.